Hello my friends and welcome back to the rabbit hole. Today's video is going to be a foundation review wear test to the best of my abilities, but it's also going to be a little bit of a story. So today I'm reviewing the brand new Uoma foundation. This is called the Say What Weightless Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. It retails for $39 for an ounce. And what I thought was so fascinating about this, and the reason I ran out and bought this immediately when it was released, is that this brand is a new brand, first off, a woman of color owned brand, which I really like to support. I think it's a very underrepresented category in the makeup industry. Women of color have been buying from white owned brands for a long time. But what got to me is that they have an entire range of olive undertones. All of them are called the Hey Honey category. I can't resist an olive foundation. So I do have lighter skin, but I do have olive undertones, neutral olive undertones. It's not the best represented skin tone in the world, and I've typically had to buy more warm undertones to get around this, and sometimes, get this, sometimes when I get matched in a store, the associate will match me to pink undertones if I'm having a really bad breakout. So frustrating. I'm like, please match me to my head and not the head of my pimple. I digress. It is a possibility to have light skin and olive undertones, and that fits me pretty darn well. So for me, this was a really, really exciting release. I did buy the lightest neutral shade that they have, which is T1N. And before I tell you a little more about the colors, I do want to say, I think this is great that Uoma has 51 shades. That's a fantastic range. I'm a little iffy on the way that they've categorized each of these to have different skin benefits. I think it's a really good idea in theory, and I think it might work for maybe even a majority of people within that skin tone, but I don't quite think it's going to work for everyone. I'm going to try to paraphrase the honey description for you. So basically this is for olive skin, but they say the most common concerns with this are premature aging, and the most common skin type is combination oily. Obviously, I don't have combination oily skin. I talk about this all the time. I don't even actually know what it would be like to produce oils visibly through my face. I can't imagine it. Sometimes I try to, but I can't. So to this category, the pink lid olive range, they've added rose extract and berry extract. That's all good in theory, but again, not everybody with an olive undertone is going to have combination oily skin. So I would actually be better suited to the Fair Lady range, which says the most common concern for this skin type is premature aging with dry combination skin. I mean, it's not going to cover everybody, but I guess I do appreciate the effort. But let's get into the swatches. I'm going to put these up in the corner so you can see what I'm talking about while I talk about them. So I do have the Uoma foundation swatched all the way to the right. You might immediately notice it's quite a bit deeper than my skin tone. I have that next to the MAC NC20, which is too orange for my skin, but otherwise it's right in terms of, I guess, the depth of the color. Kogendo's 213, a very classic olive foundation. The Pacifica Alight 33NL, which is also an olive foundation, a fantastic match, although it doesn't really dry down. And then the Smashbox Light Neutral Olive Concealer. So I do have that in Indoor Light, which I took right here, and then I went and opened my window to take the one in Natural Light. You would probably be simply horrified if I told you I actually wore this foundation on its own yesterday, right? You'd be like, well, can't watch Alice's channel anymore, but there's something very interesting that takes place once you actually apply this, or even if you let it sit on your skin. So let me put up the dry versus wet swatches. It's like the more this foundation is exposed to air, the lighter it becomes. And this is interesting because if you actually look at this in its bottle up against my skin, again, it doesn't look like it's going to be that far off. It sure does in that swatch though. So what I noticed when I put this on my skin, and again, I did wear it all day yesterday because I tried to put a lot of depth into my reviews, I noticed immediately I kind of looked like I was stuck in 1999. Remember when everybody had deeper foundation on, like everybody thought we had more tan skin or something, I don't know, everybody wore their foundation as a deeper shade. That's kind of what it looked like. It didn't really look like I was, doing anything massively problematic. It just looked like, you don't know what color skin you have. About probably an hour to 2 hours into it, it almost matched my skin. Again, not perfectly. Again, it's definitely too deep for my skin, but it was surprisingly close. So close that I'm actually gonna put a picture up. So I'm pretty confused by this foundation at this particular moment. I really don't know what to make of it. By the way, one other thing, this foundation does contain a little bit of denatured alcohol, so if you're buying it for the skin benefits, know that. But also, I didn't set it with a powder yesterday. I didn't need to. Today we're gonna take a little bit more of a hands-on, you and me together approach, and we're going to apply this with a white mixer. I've got my e.l.f. Mix to Match adjuster. This is probably gonna change the finish of this a little bit, and I'm aware of that, so, I'm braced for my dislikes, but I'm really trying to make this work. I don't want to have to return this, and I need olive foundations anyway, so you know what's going on. In advance, I have primed with the Smashbox Primerizer because, again, this was a little bit dry on my skin, and I already do have it mixed with the e.l.f. Mix to Match in an old Estee Edit sample container. How's that for a throwback, right? All right, so this is about a 60-40 mix, 40% the e.l.f. adjuster. So, all right, we're gonna go in with it. This looks like I've matched it pretty well. I have not tried this one on yet, so we're hoping for the best here. Again, if I can prevent returning this, I definitely will. I don't want to. I don't want to be that person who's like, I bought the wrong foundation, it's my fault, now you have to throw this product away and give me back my money. It feels very wasteful, so I really, really, really try to make things work. And also, if any of you are watching this and you have olive skin, you probably know this struggle of a perfect match anyway. This is actually looking fantastic right now, much better than yesterday. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this lightens. I'm very curious about that. If you've ever kind of wondered if you have olive undertones, I feel like one of the best indicators, at least for me, is that I genuinely don't actually have a clue what a sunburn is like. You might think this sounds great, but it is certainly not as good of a thing as it sounds. I never in my life owned sunscreen until my 20s. But I do have a saving grace, and that is that I was part of the goth community, probably around age 14 to 20-something. Oh, sorry, Mom, I had to be so annoying. Oh my gosh, I was definitely... I'm 14, I only listen to the Cruise Shadows, and I only surface from my home following the hours of 8 p.m. All right, so I'm really lightly going to use the Too Faced Born This Way setting powder. Y'all, I feel like this looks really, really good. It's very matte, though. I'm not used to this much of a matte look. I'm going to use the Pure Miracle Mist. All right, much better. So, not bad at all. I feel like it took the edge off the little spot that I have over here. I still feel like it looks pretty matte, but that coloring is right on. I might end up loving it. I want some lip gloss. I'm gonna wear this Essence Shine Shine lip gloss. I forgot to place my Sephora sale order. I completely forgot, so I bought absolutely no makeup. So I did want to mention that this does contain rose extract as they advertise, and it does give it a little bit of a rose scent, but otherwise, even though it does contain fragrance, it doesn't have a strong scent, at least not to me. It's dimethicone based, that is the second ingredient. And again, it does have alcohol, so it kind of ends up having a lot of pigmentation per drop. Did I just use fancy words to say it's a little bit high coverage? I think I did. While still having a very smooth texture. So, I think they say they're going for this soft matte, and I think they nailed it. But let's get into the wear test. I'm going to try to remember to do check-ins, and no, I'm not going to add anything else because I want to solely see how this foundation is wearing. All right, my darlings. So I'm headed back from the gym, and I've got to say this is really, really held up extraordinarily well. I'm getting some better lighting. So it's not doing well around where I've had my glasses on, but on my cheeks you can see it's holding up really well, on my forehead also. So I think it's one of those where the more you touch it, the more it's kind of going to be an issue, but as long as you don't, it's holding up real well. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video. This is 8 hours, which I know is not necessarily a long enough wear test, but I really wanna get this video posted because I've been thinking about it, and I think there are some things you should know about this foundation. But let me start by telling you about how it wears. And this is, of course, 2 days of wearing this. I think this wears incredibly well. Have you ever used those foundations where you get, kind of that patchiness just starts breaking up? This is just not happening with this foundation. It's really staying together and just having this really nice, soft matte finish. I do think this particular one, the Pink Lid Olive range, might be a little more on the dry side. I noticed it the most in the middle of my workout. I was like, wow, my skin feels kind of tight, actually. But, that said, the foundation didn't budge, so I'm quite inclined to think that this is a great option for people with oily skin, and yet my dry skin could still pull it off. So well done, Uoma, who apparently I've been saying incorrectly for the first portion of this video. But I do still have a concern with the way that it seems to change when exposed to air, or maybe it's humidity. In fairness, I do have a very, very humid climate. But even when I was editing the first portion of this video, I kind of noticed how quickly it changes when it touches the air. So what I'd say with this is I think it's a lot like Fenty's foundation in that what I would recommend to you is to go in store, swatch a couple of these different shades, and then walk around the store, and then make a decision. I think you really need to let this dry down because it seems like once it dries down, it doesn't budge. It's just that process of the dry down where things might change a little bit. I'm also gonna say I do think that the Honey Olive range might actually be their medium range. I'm a little confused by the color range. But I'm not sure. I haven't gone in store to see all of these or swatch all of these. I bought this thinking that I know how to guess my foundation shade when clearly I don't. Great to have the olive range represented, but again, if you're on the lighter side of things, you're gonna need to mix this with a mixer just like I did, and I think some people will be happy with that and some people won't. The reason I think this is because I was watching reviews and Nicole Concilio's popped up, and she does have a deeper skin tone than I do. I mean, not by a tremendous amount, but deeper than mine, and she was still in the Fair Lady range for this, so I'm really not, I don't understand their shade range right now, and I wish more than anything else that Ulta would have better representations of this. I was so confused buying this because it was like every category, the shades look exactly the same. And I don't think anybody wants to buy the wrong shade, and it's not fun for anybody. So it's definitely, in my opinion, at this moment, this is a go in store and swatch it before you buy it foundation. But I pretty much love absolutely everything else about this. Love supporting the brand, love the way that it wears, love the way that it feels very lightweight on. I'm not sure I said that. Very, very lightweight in texture. Like, you don't feel it on. And it's probably a pro for certain people that again, the first day I wore it, didn't set it with powder. So it's really quite easy to wear. So I hope you guys did find this video helpful, and if you did, please make sure to click the like button. Make sure you guys enter to my giveaway, which I will link below. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.